Every step is a prayer. In the spirit of Buddhism, anything you do that is accompanied by mindfulness, concentration, and insight can be considered a prayer. When you drink your tea in forgetfulness, you are not truly alive because you're not there. You are not mindful, and you are not concentrated. That moment is not a moment of practice. When you hold your cup and drink your tea in mindfulness and concentration, it's like you're performing a sacred ritual, and that is a prayer. When you walk, if you enjoy every step, if every step nourishes and transforms you, then every step is a prayer. When you sit in solidity and freedom, when you breathe in and out in mindfulness, when you touch the wonders of life, that is meditation, and that is also a prayer. So again, from your true home, the everyday wisdom of Thich Nhat Hanh. And today, I'm going to share with you a meditation I've shared with you before by Thich Nhat Hanh. So please sit back, make sure you're comfortable, and enjoy this meditation. For each phrase, we will spend a minute or so focusing on the phrase, and there will be a banner to help follow along. So again, making sure that you're comfortable. Begin by noticing your breath mindfully. And as you breathe in, think in on your in-breath. And as you breathe out, think out on your out-breath. And for the next few moments, as you breathe in, think in. As you breathe out, think out. And repeat these words at your natural flow, in and out, in and out. And we'll continue to repeat, in and out, in and out. Breathing in and out. Just noticing what is. Remembering that this mindfulness is a prayer. Breathing in, my in-breath becomes deep. Breathing out, my out-breath becomes slow. Now as you breathe in, think deep. As you breathe out, think slow. Deep and slow. Deep and slow. Deep and slow. Deep and slow. Breathing in, I feel calm. Breathing out, I feel at ease. As you breathe in, think calm. As you breathe out, think ease. And repeat calm and ease. Calm and ease. Calm and ease. Calm and ease. Breathing in, I smile. Breathing out, I release all my worries and anxieties. So as you breathe in, think smile. As you breathe out, think release. Smile, release. Smile, release. Smile, release. Smile, release. Breathing in, I dwell in the present moment. Breathing out, I know this is a wonderful moment. As you breathe in, think present moment. As you breathe out, perfect moment. Present moment, perfect moment. Present moment, perfect moment. Present moment, perfect moment. Present moment, perfect moment. Now let's take a few moments just to go back. We'll just think in and out. Deep and slow. Calm and ease. Smile. Release. Present moment. Perfect moment. So thank you for joining us today for this meditation. And as you go throughout your week, remember that anything you do mindfully is doing it as if it were a prayer. Namaste.
Good morning and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Eugene. My name is Linda Finley and I am the spiritual director here, and I'm grateful that you could join us and be with us this morning. It's an interesting day. It is now the 18th of October, and for us here there is for me personally there's an anniversary. It was 14 years ago this week that I spoke here for the first time to candidate, and 14 years ago next week that the congregation voted to hire me. So I am celebrating an anniversary of sorts. And in addition to that, our dear friend Dr. Ken Gordon and his lovely wife Deborah Gordon are celebrating right now today the 27th anniversary of the Kelowna, British Columbia Center for Spiritual Living. And so all of us here in Eugene and wherever we are watching, we wish Ken and Deb and the congregation in Kelowna a wonderful, happy anniversary. We're all part of a New Thought spiritual community. New Thought, it comes out of the Emersonian times in the 19th century, the mid-19th century. And several religions were birthed at that time, including Unity and Divine Science and Unitarian Universalists, and ultimately religious science. And all of them come under the umbrella of New Thought, which is the whole idea that there's an ancient wisdom out there that is common to all of us. And when we create a new idea in the world, we are creating our experience. So here at the Center for Spiritual Living Eugene, I suppose you could say our mission, our what we are dedicated to is inspiring minds opening hearts, and empowering lives using the principles of our teaching, the science of mind. And we do this because we know spiritually empowered people live richer and fuller lives. And in fact, the vision of the entire organization of Centers for Spiritual Living is a world that works for all. And that's what we're all working for. And that's what we're all praying for. And that's what we're all moving in the direction of, is a world that allows everyone to have a voice, to have their rights, and to be empowered in their own work. Some years ago, almost 100 years ago, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, wrote a declaration of principles. He was asked, what is it that we believe? And so he sat and he wrote down these things. And over the years, we have looked at them, used them as touchstones. And recently, someone broke them down into about 13 separate statements. And we've been reading one each week to help us remember what it is that we stand for. So we're on declaration number 3 right now, which is personal immortality. We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul, forever and ever expanding. Now, what that means is it's not about reincarnation or anything, but that the individual soul is part of the entirety we call spirit or source or God. And these souls incarnate, and we have a time we live in the earth as humans, but ultimately we let go of the house we live in and we return to source. So our soul has been around forever, even though the body in which we live may be in a specific time frame. But it is always growing, and it is always expanding, and it is always doing and being something greater and more wondrous. I would like to invite now our practitioner of the day, Angela Alcantar, who led us in that beautiful meditation, to come in and do a treatment to set the tone for today's meeting. Thank you, Angela.
Yes, my pleasure. So again, just breathing in, I use my breath to help me connect with that divine that is within. Taking this opportunity to intentionally recognize the one power and the one presence that is back of all life, of all existence, of all things. And knowing this power and this presence as love, as ease, as grace, as the very essence, the very life force that animates everything in existence. And knowing it as perfection, as divine unfoldment, as creative expansion. I know that this is the very essence of who I am and the very essence of all beings. And so what I know is that all of creation is the love and the ease and the grace that God is. And so in this knowing, what I declare right here and right now is that this truth is revealed in our actions. That we treat the planet, the way that we treat the individual expressions of the divine. And what I know is that today, the words that are spoken inspire this truth within and motivate the action of living in the divine truth that each one is. And I'm also deeply grateful for each individual that helps make this day possible, from the audio visual to the sound and every other aspect of bringing this talk to everyone today. It takes the many light beings that are to come together to create this expression, and I am grateful. So in this gratitude, in this knowing of oneness, I release my word into the law, knowing that it is already done, knowing the truth of who I am. And together we say, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Angela. So we are in the midst of creating a service to everyone, and Angela so beautifully recommended and thanked all the people who do volunteer to come in. And we could certainly use some more volunteers. We could, if we had 2 or 3 people doing the camera work, that would mean everybody would only have to do it once a week. We had 2 or 3 more people helping with the backup, doing the transmission of this, that would be helpful. So if you are, the camera work is, I don't want to make light of it because we wouldn't be doing this without it, but it's not as involved and technical as the computer work. So if you can operate your cell phone, you can probably be a camera person here, and we would love to see you come down and check it out and see if this is for you and something that would allow you to come to the center, once or twice a month. If you enjoy being on computers, we could also use you helping with that. It isn't as difficult as we'd like to make it sound, but it does take a bit more training. It does take a bit more knowledge, and you have to be totally attentive to what's going on. So if you have ADHD, it might not be the job for you. But I know I couldn't do it. It's kind of like squirrel. But I do appreciate those who are able to be there and do that. And we thank everybody for being part of that. But if maybe you're feeling a calling to get out of the house and do something on Sunday, and if you'd like to be here, there may be a job for you. So contact us at the office. Part of our action each month is to do a affirmation, which takes us a little bit deeper each week. It's the same affirmation all month long, but as we repeat it over and over again, it goes a little deeper into our hearts and into our minds and becomes a bit more part of us. The practice is, I'll read it to you once and you can just listen to it. It'll be up on the screen. It should be up on the screen here shortly. Hopefully we'll get, there we go. And I'll read it through once, and then I'm going to read it a second time, and I'm going to presume that each of you at home is reading it aloud with me, because when we read it out loud, both the sight and the sound of our own voice deepens its meaning for us. So, for now, listen. I am part of an infinite web of connection. Every part of the universe is connected to me, and I am connected to it. I send love, peace, and the energy of wholeness out to the world. And now we're going to go through this together. I am part of an infinite web of connection. Every part of the universe is connected to me, and I am connected to it. I send love, peace, and the energy of wholeness out to the world. And we all choose to send the energy of wholeness out to the world. It is part of what this teaching is about, and it's part of what we strive to remember to do. Right now, we are delighted to have a video from our own wonderful, lovely Haley Loren doing a really beautiful song about the cosmic connection that we're experiencing. So if Kathy's ready, we can bring up Haley.
Thank you so much for having us. Daniel Gallows joining me for this song. And we just send our love from our house to yours. We're going to do the rainbow. Why are there so many Songs about rainbows and what's on the other side. Rainbows are visions, they're only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told in some shows to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that and someone believed it, and look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? What do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Have you been half asleep? And have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailor? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Haley. Thank you, Daniel. Love you guys so much. And I'm not crying, you're crying. Oh, this month we are in the midst of a theme called Cosmic Connections. Hence the rainbow connection, because it is part of the cosmic connection. There's a song called One. And the basic lyrics are, or the chorus is, We are one people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. And if I had to tell you in 25 words or less what this teaching is about, it would be that we are all one, that there is only one of us, that everything we see is a reflection of us, that we are all inextricably, completely, and totally connected at the most integral of levels and at the most cosmic of levels. We're still all one. It is as though, metaphorically speaking, each of us is a drop of water in the ocean that is God. Each of us is a cell in the body that is God. We are all connected to one another, no matter what our differences, no matter our similarities. Some of us are look more alike or think more alike than others, but we all are part of the entirety, which we call the universe. And we are all connected, and we all play a role in that. And so that's what this month is about, is reminding us that we have to let go of the idea of separation, of the idea of us and them. That there is no them out there. There is only us. There is only us. And of late, our old tribal stuff seems to be coming up. And if somebody doesn't think like me or look like me, I want them out of the picture. And that's a fear-based action. That's a fear-based experience. That is not the truth of who we are and who we are intended to be. In fact, it's the antithesis of us. When I was a very little girl, Disney was big, and I went as a little girl to the movie Bambi. And it's pretty scary because right at the beginning there's a giant forest fire, and the mama deer dies. Disney movies are actually pretty much like that. Somebody dies, and then you got the story of who's left, I guess. But it was the story of a fawn who befriended a bunny and a baby skunk. Bambi, Thumper, and Flower. And there couldn't be three more different characters, really. I mean, yeah, they're all animals, they're all mammals, but they're all very, very different. They're very different species. But they were very good friends, and they became friends, and they did things together, and they didn't accentuate their differences. They accentuated the fact that they were all in the world together trying to make it alone. Every now and again, we'll see videos on YouTube or somewhere else. I'm showing my age, I guess, but anyway, we'll see videos of little babies that are white babies and black babies and Asian babies and Latinx babies. And they're all playing together and loving one another and hugging one another. And there is no sense of difference or themness. We have to learn that someone is other. That is not something we come growing up. It's something we get taught, maybe by our parents, maybe by our society, maybe by our friends, maybe at school. But it's not the truth of who we are, and it's not how we come wired into the world. We come wired seeing everyone as part of us. And then we get trained out of it, and then finally at some point in life, hopefully we realize that we really are one with everyone, and we spend the rest of our days getting back to that sense of oneness, that sense of connection. So what I want to talk about is the idea of loving our neighbor. Loving our neighbor is more than simply loving those who are like us and who can love us in return. Loving my neighbor is me taking 24 hours, but I'm getting there, to learn to love the guy who came into Dairy Mart after I was already pouring ice into my cup and walked right up next to me, almost brushed against me, reached around me to grab a cup, and then went to the spigot right over there, that close to me, and started pouring ice. And I'm like panicking, and I just walked away over to the end of the aisle and waited. And then he said to nobody in particular, he wasn't looking at me. I guess I was too close. And then walked over and paid for his drink and left. And I've been having a hard time loving him. I've been vetting him for quite a while. Why? How could anybody? How could an adult human being not know? I mean, they got lines on the floor that say, and they got signs on the door, wear a mask. He had a mask on, but it says keep 6 feet distance. And so I've been vetting him. So it isn't that you know, because you become a minister, like I've said many, many times, being a minister does not mean you get this right all the time. It does not mean you understand it perfectly. It simply means that I have found a teaching that means so much to me. I have chosen to dedicate my life to it because I know this is the answer. This is the best answer I have found so far. So what I am saying is, loving, he's my neighbor. For about 24 hours, he hasn't been my neighbor. But this morning I've been realizing, yeah, that too is my neighbor, and I have to love him. I have to love that he didn't understand. I have to love myself that I didn't have the nerve to say, excuse me, I'd like you to stay 6 feet until I'm finished. Because I was afraid I'd say something angry. So there's a lot of healing and forgiveness work that needs to be done here on such just a simple thing as going in and getting a soda. But what we have to understand is our neighbor isn't the person who follows the rules. When we are told to love our neighbor's the one who isn't following. And we're being asked to love that. When Jesus was asked, who is my neighbor? Because he had said something along the effect of, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Well, who's my neighbor? Well, it's not your best bud that you agree with. And what Jesus did was he went straight into the story of the Samaritan. And I think probably all of us, whether you were a Christian or not, you have got some, Good Samaritan has come into it. Is literally, there are laws on the books in this country about Good Samaritans. And can you be sued if you're helping in an emergency and not qualified? But what the story he told was that somebody had been mugged, beaten, and lay bleeding on the side of the road. And a really good member of the church walked by and saw him, but was concerned that he really might not want to be, didn't have time to mess with that. So he just went on his way. And a priest walked by, a rabbi walked by and saw the man on the side of the road, but he had places he needed to be, and he didn't know, maybe it was a ruse. And then a Samaritan walked by. And the Samaritan was the only one who stopped. And he helped the man, and he took him to an inn, and he bandaged him, and he paid for his care and said he would be back in a week to check on him. And hence the term, the Good Samaritan. Well, what most of us aren't aware of, because it's 2,000 years later, and we don't know the context. Samaritans within the community that Jesus lived were generally considered half-breeds and were universally despised as lower than and not worthy of anybody's concern or care. So what Jesus said was some guy who doesn't even like us, who that we don't like, was more kind than his own people, than this man's own people. This is where we have to learn. My neighbor is anyone who needs my help. My neighbor is anyone who helps me regardless of their race, their gender, regardless of their sexuality, regardless of their political affiliation, regardless of any of those things. That's my neighbor. Because refer back to the beginning of the talk. We are one people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are one. It doesn't matter how many rules we've made to separate ourselves from this tribe and that tribe, this group and that group. We're still all at essence connected. We are still all one. And so part of the work that we are called to do is build bridges between our separateness, and those bridges are bridges of forgiveness. Forgiving others and forgiving ourselves. And I know I know who you are, and I am talking to you right now. There are people in my congregation who really are good with everything except forgiveness, because by golly, they hurt me so bad. Yeah, but they quit hurting you 30 years ago, 50 years ago. And what people don't seem to get is forgiveness is not condoning, it's letting go of. Wikipedia, good old Wikipedia. I found this. Forgiveness is different from condoning, which they define as failing to see the action as wrong and in need of forgiveness. It's not that. Forgiveness is different from excusing, which means not holding the offender responsible for the action. It's not that. Forgiveness is different from forgetting. It's not removing awareness of the offense from my consciousness. Forgiveness is different from pardoning, which is granted for an acknowledged offense by a representative society, such as a judge. We're not pardoning this. And forgiveness is different from reconciliation, which is the restoring of a relationship. It is not that either. I can forgive you without condoning what you did, without excusing what you did, without reconciling with you, without pardoning, without anything to do with that. What I am doing is letting go of giving you free rent in my brain. I'm getting rid of the idea that somehow I can hold on to this hot rock that I want to throw at you and not burn myself. That somehow I can drink the poison of my anger because I'm angry at you and not poison myself. It is hard to experience the letting go of blame and anger and frustration, because it's not saying that the hurt isn't real and it isn't there. But years and years ago, when I first moved up here, I was part of a Parker Palmer group, Center for Courage and Renewal group for ministers, and we were meeting quarterly. And just before I moved here in October, we were having a meeting coming together, and one of the people was late because she was an arbitrator. And she had gone, it was when there was a man who went into an Amish school and killed all the children. And she was someone who went in, to help crisis management, help the people who were involved, help the parents. And lots of money had been raised for the Amish to help them. What this woman, this minister who was part of our group, when she arrived, the story she told us was the Amish had immediately after all this happened gone to visit the wife and children of the man who killed their children to tell her they did not hold them responsible and to see if there was any way they could assist her and help her with the raising of her children and all that would be happening in the future. And they took the money that was raised for them, because they didn't really need a lot, and gave it to this woman. That's loving your neighbor and forgiving. I don't know if I could do that, but I have heard so many stories of women whose children and grandchildren have been killed by other gang members. Killed by gang members. Their children weren't even in a gang, but their children were killed by gangs. And these mothers and grandmothers have forgiven the children who killed their children. Because hate doesn't stop hate. It just pours gasoline. Forgiveness is love in action. Forgiveness is an inside job, really. It's taking the pain that is here and transforming it into something meaningful and powerful. I read this morning good old Mark Nepo, the Book of Awakening, on today's lesson. Ultimately, it is where we are not perfect, where we are broken and cracked, where the wind whistles through, that is the stuff of transformation. Each time I've failed has solidified into unexpected learnings. Our failure, our unexpected stumblings, are the very human paste from which we are made sweet. Just know when everything is falling apart, that you are preparing the ground of you for something ripe that can't yet be seen, but which in time will be tasted. When I can go within myself to see what was frightened, to see what was wounded, to see what was lost, and love that place without pointing a finger at anyone, and allow that place, when it is warmed, to heal me, to warm me, I become an agent for renewal in the world. I build a bridge of acceptance out from myself to others. I remember when we would gather here in this room and at the end of the service hold hands and sing the peace song. And the key lesson, the key message of the peace song is that it begins with me. Let peace begin on earth, and let it begin with me. It is me casting myself out into the world as peace that allows peace to grow. that allows you to see that and expand on that and be that. I would ask us to consider, we opened with a Buddhist meditation, we'll close with a Buddhist meditation. That was Angela's opening. When I was doing yoga classes, my beautiful teacher, Dave Kafis, hi Dave and Annika, at the end of each service, at the end of each class, we'd do our meditation and then we'd sit up and we'd do some Oms. And then he would do this meditation. And I'm just going to ask you to just be with this and consider the layers of this. And if you want to say it along with me, you can, but it's just, may I be well, happy, and peaceful. May my family be well, happy, and peaceful. May my friends be well, happy, and peaceful. May those who are indifferent to me be well, happy, and peaceful. And may those with whom I have difficulty be well, happy, and peaceful. And it occurred to me each week as he would say that, it's all well and good to want to be well, happy, and peaceful. I want my family to be well, happy, and peaceful. I want my friends to be well, happy, and peaceful. I want the world to be well, happy, and peaceful. But it's a totally incomplete blessing until I want those with whom I have difficulty to be well, happy, and peaceful. And that, my dear, dear friends, is how we build the bridge. That, my friends, is how we learn from the inside out to create a world that works for everyone. And now I'd like to ask Angela to do the offering blessing and Kathy to bring up the slide for the offerings.
So as we have a moment to remember all the different ways that we can share our love and our energy financially with the center, I ask you to please take your gift if you actually have a gift in your hand and place it over your heart, or simply place your hand over your heart to connect with that love energy. And in gratitude for the gifts that are already being given and the continued gifts that we receive, knowing that as love is shared, it is circulated again and again and magnified. So just knowing that with this gift, good is done, love is expanded, and joy. And I simply say thank you for all that you've already done and all that you continue to do to support Centers for Spiritual Living Eugene. Blessed be, and so it is.
Hi there. So we're having a little technology glitch, and that was Haley doing Bridge Over Troubled Waters, which we will bring back and do at some point so that you can hear her. Please turn off your phone or whatever if you've got it on, because that's coming back at me, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. So basically now we're going to do our announcements, and so if we could bring the announcements up, that would be awesome. And I know we've got, oh, and I just undid my phone again. Okay. We're all having technical difficulties today. So the announcements are, I believe the first one is after service right today. In the next couple of minutes, you can join the Zoom meeting. You can check your newsletter from last Wednesday. It has a live link to the Zoom, and you just click on that. You don't have to do anything. You just click on that on your computer, and it will open up Zoom for you. Or go to our CSL Eugene group page, and there's a blurb in there that has the link on it as well. And click on that, and Zoom will open on your computer or your phone. This that is this Saturday. Woo! The 24th, from 9 to 10:30, our own Angela Alcantar, who you saw earlier, is going to be doing a workshop, a free experiential workshop on the joy of creating. So if you have any kind of artistic bent, whether it's reading, writing, painting, drawing, whatever, check into this. Click on, you can register it, the registration's in the newsletter, and we would love to have you be part of that. And again, it's free, so what's not to enjoy and love? Then after that, I believe we've got, I'm just waiting for the slide. I don't have a list here. Okay, the annual membership meeting is tentatively scheduled for next Sunday. We may have to delay it. We don't know for sure. We are planning on having it this Sunday, and we will share the reports, and we will vote for new board members. And we need you there for this. So please do your best to be part of this and sign up and join. There will be a link sent to you directly, and we would love to have you there at the annual meeting. And then I'm going to be doing, starting in November, on Wednesday, November 4th at 6:30 in the evening, or Friday, November 6th at 10:30 in the morning, I'm going to be doing another version of my class, the guest house, which is learning to embrace your shadow. And I would love to have you with us. It's $20 a week for the 6-week class, but we do have, I'll work with you if you don't have that, because it's really important to do this work right now. And I look forward to celebrating November and December with you, doing the shadow work together. Beyond that, Thanksgiving Eve, yes, coming in November, Thanksgiving Eve, the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, probably about 6:30, we'll get you the time and the link. We're going to be doing a gratitude service, a Zoom link, and I really look forward to sharing with you the ways that we can be grateful for what has happened and what's about to happen. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, the 50th anniversary is going to be coming up at some point, 50+1. In the midst of all of that, I appreciate you. I appreciate your presence online. I appreciate your presence in person. I appreciate everybody who's here helping out. Michael, Gabby, Dale, Liz, all of them, all y'all. And I'll see you hopefully on the Zoom conversation after this. So have a good day, be well, and we'll see you next week.